The birth and rise of the fashionable vampire Lilith. For millions of years, Earth was just another blue planet to the beings hidden in the farthest corners of the galaxy. However, two ancient species, vampires and aliens, hidden both underground and in the sky, were drawn into a battle that would shape the fate of the planet. In the narrow streets of Pittsburgh, illuminated by moonlight at midnight, ancient vampire Lord Valerian gazed down from a high balcony at the town. For him, gliding through the mortal world represented a regular hunting time, but tonight was different. There was something in the sky, something invisible yet palpable. The silence of the night was thick with the scent of a threat. A week earlier, a series of spacecraft had descended, appearing like meteor showers to the world. People were in a panic, but for Valerian and creatures like him, this event heralded a war. Because those who came were more than ordinary aliens, they were the Sherlocks, a species that had conducted interplanetary conquests and had only been a legend in the ancient texts of vampires. That night, outside the town, a Sherlock ship landed. As Valerian's loyal followers watched the spacecraft, they realized these beings were equipped not only with technology but also with a mystical power. The aliens bore a strange aura, their powers challenged the dark energies that vampires had fed on for thousands of years. Zerkath, the leader of the Sherlocks, stepped down from the ship and onto the land. When Valerian looked into the creature's eyes, he felt a tremor inside. This was more than just a normal enemy. Zerkath could read his thoughts without speaking. "Your kind has ruled this planet for far too long, but the era is over," he said in their minds. The vampire lords gathered to discuss how to stop Zerkath and his army. However, the power of the Sherlocks was greater than anything vampires had ever known. While some suggested forming an alliance with Zerkath, Valerian believed it was a trap. This world should not belong to them. As beings emerging from the shadows, we already own the night. They will steal from us. The aliens possessed not only physical power but also an energy that threatened the existence of vampires. They could simulate sunlight. The Sherlocks grew stronger with each night, uncovering the vampires' weaknesses and threatening their very existence. Eventually, war became inevitable. The vampire armies and the Sherlock legions met atop a mountain. As the dark sky flickered with interstellar lights, vampires rose from the shadows. But the Sherlocks countered with their dark energies. When Valerian confronted Zerkath one-on-one, the two ancient beings clashed. As the vampire's fangs tried to pierce Zerkath's skin, the alien's body erupted in a burst of energy. But shaken by the blast, Valerian was not one to accept defeat. His centuries-old knowledge contained a dark magic that Zerkath had never seen before. The two beings engaged in a battle where light and darkness intertwined. The earth trembled under their powers. The war raged for days. In the end, neither vampires nor aliens emerged fully victorious. Valerian's genetic structure had changed due to the radiant blood of Zerkath that he bit during the battle. He was no longer defenseless against the sun. As a result of the war, the earth had been divided between these two powerful races. The Sherlocks built colossal cities in the sky while vampires retreated to their underground kingdoms. But both sides knew this was not an end, only a new beginning. They were doomed to share an eternal night. Valerian whispered as he watched the night, "This world was ours, and one day it will be again. Even space is not vast enough for the both of us." The two ancient species had to accept coexistence, but deep down, each sought ways to defeat the other. Once again, Earth had stepped into the unknown. The nights on Earth were no longer the same. Vampires had lived as masters of darkness for centuries, while aliens emerged from the depths of the galaxy to conquer the planet. But amid the war between the two ancient species, humanity found itself caught in the chaos. While people continued their normal lives on the surface, the world was drawn into a deep conflict. Ancient vampire Lord Valerian and the alien leader Zerkath were the two great figures of this war. However, humans were not merely spectators trapped between these two species. Astronomer Dr. Elise Moreau began receiving strange signals shortly after the aliens landed on Earth. Initially thinking it was a natural occurrence, she soon realized the signals bore signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Elise became one of the first scientists to make contact with these mysterious beings. However, she was unaware of another power lurking in the shadows of the vampires. One night, Elise was abducted by vampires. They wanted to utilize her ability to decipher the alien signals. For vampires, humans were not just prey, they were also gateways to knowledge. Valerian wanted to learn the aliens' weaknesses from Elise. But Elise would show that she was not an ordinary human. As Elise languished in the dark kingdom of the vampires, other humans were trying to adapt to this strange new world order. World leaders had announced the presence of aliens to the public, but no one yet knew the reality of vampires. Humans lacked the technology to confront the aliens, but some secret military groups had made contact with the vampires. A secret agreement had been signed: vampires would help humans against the alien invasion in exchange for being able to hunt their prey in the dark. However, Elise knew humanity was not merely a toy of these two ancient powers. Gradually, she earned Valerian's trust. Elise began researching the past and powers of both the vampires and the aliens. She sought to uncover their weak points. A balance needed to be struck between the technology-based powers of the Sherlocks and the mystical energies of the vampires. Elise started to develop a plan that could allow these two powers to annihilate each other. Thanks to Elise's knowledge, humans began to organize underground. A resistance group called Night Guardians was working on technologies capable of dealing with both vampires and aliens. With the weak points that Elise discovered, the sunlight simulated by the aliens could become a deadly weapon for vampires. At the same time, the dark magic possessed by vampires could manipulate the energies of the aliens. The leader of the Night Guardians was a former Special Forces soldier named Daniel Carter. Daniel had experience fighting vampires because his family had been hunted by Valerian's legions years ago. He was now waiting for the opportunity to take revenge on both vampires and aliens. Elise and Daniel stood at the forefront of the resistance. While Elise used her intellect to develop plans, Daniel led in the battlefield. On a night when the resistance sought to maintain balance between humans and vampires, Elise and Daniel faced Valerian. The vampire lord accepted that the best way to unite against the aliens was to join forces with humans. For the Sherlocks aimed to eradicate both vampires and humans together. Valerian offered Elise and Daniel a deal: humans cannot win this war. But if you ally with us, we will keep you alive. Together, we can defeat the Sherlocks. However, this offer was a tough decision for Daniel. Collaborating with the killers of his family would be a heavy burden. Elise, however, believed that this alliance was the only way out. Thus, vampires, humans, and resistors decided to fight together against the alien invasion. With a device developed by Elise, the mental powers and energy shields of the aliens could be disrupted. Vampires could also dismantle the aliens' technology with their dark magic. When the Sherlock legions moved to completely conquer the Earth, Elise, Daniel, and Valerian's coalition launched one final attack. Vampires attacked from the shadows, humans activated their technological weapons, and Elise's invention disrupted the aliens' energy networks. As Valerian confronted Zerkath one last time, Elise and Daniel battled on the battlefield to stop the aliens' powers. In the end, the Sherlocks suffered heavy losses, and Zerkath had to retreat in the face of Valerian's power. As the aliens boarded their ships and left Earth, the fragile alliance between vampires and humans broke down. Valerian retreated, remaining loyal to his agreement with humans, but Daniel knew this wouldn't last forever. The aliens had left Earth, but the vampires still waited in the dark. Humanity began preparing to face the threat of vampires again. Elise and Daniel continued to work on new plans to free the world from the vampires' control. But one thing was clear: the world would never be the same again. An endless night might soon give way to an endless war. And Elise could not shake a dark feeling about the future. Perhaps the real danger had yet to arrive. The earth was silent once more,